Welcome back to another review and feedback of StarCraft 2 games. It's me, Ritho, and I have an interesting game for you. I'm not going to give you too many spoils, but we're going to be playing against a Masters player and a GM. Sorry, Masters 1 and a GM. There is some interesting units chosen. It is a PvP, so we'll see how we'll see what comes about. But as you see, not many supply blocks, and it looks like they supply block at the same time. So we're going to go ahead and jump right on in. You see we have our GM and the other one. I am on the new computer, so if things are a little bit off, again, I'm sorry, let me know. I will do my best to fix it in the next video, or re-record this one like I did the previous time. Oopsie daisy. Sorry about that. In the upper right-hand corner, we have our player Dungeon. In the blue, in the lower left-hand corner, we have our player in the red ESPARTANO. Excuse me as I brutally mess up their names. As you can see, we both of them have opened up as gates. You can see the production up here. They are GM/Masters 1, so we're not going to see very many, if any, mistakes going on here. Just your normal scouts, just paying attention, see when their opponent's going to grab their naturals, see when they're going to be able to do some other things. This is a cheeky probe down here. That'll be very interesting to see what they decide to do here. It looks like they're going to do a proxy pylon as their second pylon. There it is. On the other side, we have ESPARTANO getting ready to drop in his Nexi, so he's going to be a little bit more economical, while we're going to have our blue player being more aggressive. This is a little bit longer game, so I'm not going to go too slowly through it, but I just wanted to kind of show you some things that you would expect to have, somebody blocking off the expansion. What they're hoping to do is reduce the production time for when that Nexus goes down. Oh, look at that. Once he gets to 400 minerals and there's not a Nexus, or they're not producing something that is going to be very aggressive, generally speaking, you're in a really good place. What the red player should notice as they have left, I believe that, oops, I didn't want to see that, is that they were missing a pylon here. They didn't catch that. So they don't know where their second pylon is or their third pylon, which is very scary against Protoss. Obviously, the blue player is going to go ahead and try and catch that. And as you get to higher levels, those little things that you're looking for, specifically like what buildings do they not have, what buildings are they working on, so on and so forth, is very important. The blue player was, interestingly enough, ran behind the mineral line. It should have cut through the mineral line. Probably would have killed that probe before it finished its scout. Red is hunting for that proxy pylon. He did see the probe go earlier on. I don't know if they're going to be able to have a true knowledge on it, but it looks like he did see the probe coming back, so he has a good idea that there's something in this vicinity of the map, which, if you're a Protoss player, you put a shield battery in your lines, you get an extra stalker or two, and you're able to defend any air pressure. If it's robo, there's the long run, right, isn't too terrible. They can run right up here, come on through. As a GM, you should be able to identify that kind of level of skill. Not a crazy big deal, but something to be aware of. Here's your Oracle. It's got 3 kills already. Sorry, I'm trying to talk about... No. Trying to let you all know the kind of things that you're kind of looking for as you're playing. It looks like a hard wall, so that means that the red player is going to mine out one of these mineral patches once they're ready to get outside of the base. Until then, they're going to be very defensive, they're going to be very postured for aggression. Maybe they'll just do only stalkers, and then they'll blink out of the base. It's not a terrible idea, but just something to be aware of. Double Oracle can be kind of scary. The reason being is that double Oracle... Why am I losing... Sorry, my settings, it's a new computer, all that kind of stuff. It should be confined to the window. So I don't know why my mouse went off. It's like going off the screen, and it shouldn't be doing that. On. There we go. Sorry about that. But what you need to be aware of is this double Oracle can kill a stalker. So if you don't have at least 2 stalkers together, those oracles can do so much damage. If you are the player with the stalkers, you want to defend and try and focus down one of the oracles. Just simply like if they're 2 next to each other, you want to get the one in the back. not the one on the front. The reason being is that the one in the back is going to be further away or closer to you on that last shot. The exception is if they put the weaker one forward, which you can see they have kind of positioned in that way here. And it's very finicky. This isn't just A-clicking might even be better to just like A-click on the ground. And then your stalkers do their thing. Have them stutter step. Basically, you have them you A-click, 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 but right-click in between. So you go A-click, right-click, A-click, right-click. And what that'll do is that'll allow you... I'm hitting D to bring up the production tab, sorry. To be very clear, what I'm trying to do is demonstrate how to do it without actually having control of any units where I have the ability to change it because it's a replay. But essentially, having the stalkers shoot and then forcing them to move until they... If you don't do that, what happens is the stalkers wait until they're out of range and then they start moving, which is not what you want to have happen. If you have the stalkers wait until they're done moving, then you're going to be in a position where you're not able to... You're going to reduce the amount of damage you can have. The double oracles can instantly kill a probe. It's the same as 2 banshees, or I think 6 mutas. Don't quote me on that. I just know that there's certain thresholds for certain units where you can just one-shot stuff. And then, of course, with blink, going to be on top of your army, and your opponent's getting blink. You have blink. Put this stalker off to the side in the back. That way you can save yourself a shot or two. Walks on up, goes into the naturals, looking to kill some probes. This is great, denying mining time, getting some kills, making up the difference between what those oracles are doing. On the other side of the map, we have the oracles getting pushed in, trying to take out probes. Still not very much shield damage going out. And these stalkers are trying to... And then you can see the preemptive blink so that they can get them on the down low ground on the blink away. That was a very smart play. GM level, master one player level kind of thing you're looking at. Hey, how can I make it so I can do this? How can I do that? How can I position myself to make it so the stalkers shoot all over the place? Can I blink on you and all that kind of stuff? You can see what's going on with regards to the stalker positional advantage. Without a shield battery here, we're going to have some struggles for our red player. No shield batteries at all. They're going to probably lose this next eye. Might be close. It's hard to say because the battle is going to determine how that goes. Looks like the blue player has assessed that it's better to get the high ground and be in another position. This observer making it so the high ground advantage is negated. Not a bad choice. Didn't cancel the Nexus, so we have a 3 base versus 3 base, but the blue Protoss has the advantage over here with regards to already mining, already having a shield battery on location, and all that good stuff. The other thing you want to pay attention to is number of gases. You can see that this Protoss is grabbing only 2 gases. Espartano. The reason that you check gas counts and need to know that gas count is simply because your opponent, how much gas they're bringing in, determines what tech they can go. So higher amounts of gas, meaning if they had grabbed all 6 gases, there's 2 per base. That's why you say 2, 4, or 6, so on and so forth. You might have a 3 gas. In this situation, there's just 3 gas. Determines things like, are they going to get +1? Are they going to get? Are they going to go oracles? How are they? Not go oracles. Go archons, etc. Those kind of pieces of units construction together is determined specifically about what they have on the gas count. If they're going to go mineral heavy, you can see that what has happened is the red player here has decided to grab the gold base, which is going to be a very high income location, and be able to power up. And you can see that they've decided to add in zealots to their army. And I believe charge went through. I just hit G. Yep, charge happened for one player and not the other. Zealots do a really, really good job of tanking stalker shots. So with that knowledge at hand, you need to make sure that you have your own zealots to make it so the stalkers will not shoot at the zealots or the equivalency, right? You're going to be in a situation where you want to make sure that the units are doing damage the way they can to the best of their ability. Oracles fly over gold, locate that it's fully saturated. On the other side of the map, we have the stalkers doing a jump in, seeing if there's a base there, doing a little bit of shield damage. About 200 to 300 went away in that attack. Look at that. It's really close. That one volley did that much. It was one volley and then they ran away. This stalker ball jumped over, and I don't know if there was any losses that occurred, but it was pretty minimalistic. In this instance, because both players are going very stalker heavy, and one has a sky stuff, and getting a nice cannon there, making sure those oracles are getting shoved away. You could sneak another 2 or 3. You just switch the location of the oracles and then kill the probes that are on the edge here and run away, hoping your opponent doesn't flip over to check their cannon and target the lower one. That being said, you don't necessarily want to do hope when you're playing at a higher level, so just kind of things to think about at a lower level. If you're at about diamond or below, most players aren't going to do that. They either don't have the skills, they don't have the APM, they don't know that that's a good choice. Archon out, dies. Archons are the gas heavy ones, that's why having extra gas is important. They tank just as well as Zealots, if not better. And then you have an Immortal that shows up. That's going to be scary to deal with because Immortals just straight up counter Zealot, counter Stalkers. Oracle getting vision on all these units is extremely important. Ooh, nice. Keeping your army together is super important. Getting ready to expand here. 4 bases versus 4 bases. Again, the blue player is in a slight advantage. They have a higher saturation. You can kind of look at that at 18, 17 here. A little less gas than they need. No extra here, no extra here. You look over here, not fully saturated. Now, it is fully saturated. It is fully saturated. Minded this out, and they're going to fill this up real quick. This is oversaturated. So the kind of differentiation in decision making, is important to take into account when you have these kind of Amir matchups, because you're going to see very different situations for each player. I didn't see this pylon snuck out, but there's that pylon right there. In this situation, what you want to do is you want to try and deny your opponent bases, continue to grow, but don't lose too much army when you're doing that. Oh, honey. Speed up just a little bit. You can see they're going to posture quite a bit. They're going to continue to grow. You're going to see that they're going to try and get maximum supply, hit that 200. As they're growing, they're going to be opening up paths, making it so that when they're aggressive and such, they're better able to do damage. Picking off a unit here or there, taking out some damage, a little bit of shields and stuff. 5 base versus 4 base at this point. Red should pretty quickly be growing out into a 5th base. I would say either here, because they're doing the aggressive thing, or over here when they decide to be more defensive. Very up in the air. You can see a lot of Archons. Archons are very, very hefty units. They have lots of shield, 350 health of shield. And then if you are near a shield battery, they basically are impossible to kill. You really need to have a lot of damage there to make it happen. Archons also have splash, so they're going to be really good at dealing with those Zealots. Immortals are going to be really, really good at killing off any of those Stalkers. So this army is a much higher tech and much a better force, but because of the concave position, blue pulls back and is going to set up his own concave. Red doesn't know about the space yet, so he might want to send out a unit, gets his own base. Both players are about to have 3 attack. A Zealot run by on the way, probably come into this base to see what's going on. Obviously there isn't an army there, or a base there, so it'll get into the main or natural. Red smells blood in the water, says let's jump on in, and decides to gun down all these Archons really fast. All these Immortals going down really fast as well. Not enough units. The Zealots on the other side are being problematic. And of course the army getting shredded by all those Immortals. Zealots are doing their thing. A Zealot warp in to protect at the home. Another Zealot warp in to make it so they're okay. Hopefully. Unfortunately, we're talking about those shield batteries not being present. That's a big deal here. Doing a recall, that ball of units are coming here because these Zealots will eventually win without additional help. A new warp-in should come out here shortly. You can see it. There it is. Looks like a bunch of Templar. Yeah. So you could bring the gas count down. Blue's a little bit gas heavy, while the red play... Actually, they both balanced it out. Blue's is slightly behind in the situation with regards to army supply and income. Actually, blue has the bigger income. And has surpassed red. So red is behind on a base. Didn't lose any mining units during that exchange. I'm surprised we don't have a random Oracle pop out and be rather annoying on the new bases, or this base. He saw there's no cannon here. Maybe even build an Oracle, have it come over, and then hit this guy up. Because the Zealots either killed the cannon or because he was able to do that. But I understand why you wouldn't. Observer singing the other observer. Obviously, the unit's killing off the army there. Archons being constructed. Colossus coming out. The interesting Colossus. In PvP, Colossuses really aren't that great. They're good against killing Zealots, but you need 3 or more. Versus what the ball we see here, which is having Stalkers and having Archons. Archons, they are too spread out for Colossi to be worth anything. And they're... Immortals would just be better. They're really expensive. They require range, all that kind of stuff. if your opponent's getting into like a really mineral-heavy Zealot army, Colossi is not a bad play. This is what I was thinking was crazy with regards to the comments that were there. Force Colossi. Imagine that being 4 4 Immortals instead. Immortals just completely shred all these Stalkers, and they do okay against the Zealot. Zealot counts pretty low. At this point, I would immediately start switching into Immortal production. I would stop doing Colossi. I don't know. They do sit at the back. They are doing pretty well on value. This Observer making this really cool position totally useless. I do like that play, but that Observer making it so very, very valuable. At this point, what ended up happening was Blue was able to protect their army a little bit better, or their income a little bit better, and always be a little bit ahead on income, versus Red, who lost to that run by and all that kind of stuff. So, really cool game. Very interesting changeover with the Colossi. I don't think that's not a normal play, if I recall correctly, but it worked out really well because he had a big enough Stalker ball. And then Immortals get jumped on when there's Blink Wars and stuff like that. So the Colossi was an interesting choice. One thing I would have noted is this is a nice sneaky thing. Shutting it down is something you want to do as the red player. Just scouting for it. Just send a probe. Just send 1 Zealots, an Adept later on. As a blue player, use this to your advantage. Warp in 5 Zealots here. Send them at them. Drop another Oracle and go to the base that doesn't have that cannon ready to go. Both players are really, really good players, so their knowledge base and their experience are significantly beyond mine. It's beyond mine, so I might be talking a little bit out of my behind on all this stuff, but just something to think about. Both players had a really good build order. They both knew what they wanted to do. They both had a plan. Both players defended well when they were getting pressured. Both players were constantly aggressive with their opponents. Both players were really smart about keeping their income growing, and they did a really good job of protecting their income, with the exception of this one run-by that came by, and they actually did a really good job there. They only lost like 4 or 5 probes by the end of the game, if I'm not mistaken. I like the slowdown on your opponent's base. That was really cool, and it made it so that this Oracle play was totally useless. And it sounds like I don't really have, or not useless, but made it so it was kind of balanced. But you could see how blue stayed ahead constantly with regards to having additional income, while the red player slowly fell behind, only ever so slightly, which is the difference between a GM and a Masters player. It's just that little bit of difference on execution, identification, income, build order, whatever it might have been. Both players had a really strong build order. They both did a really good job with what they were doing. They were being really smart about it. I do like this probe going in and double-checking where all the pylons are and identifying that there's not an extra pylon there. But I am scared for the fact that they didn't do shield batteries of any variety. If they just threw down a shield battery in both mineral lines, the losses would have been significantly less. Not that they were bad, right? They lost something like 6 to 10 probes, but that could have been a grand total of 0 or 1. But you're investing 4 probes worth, so it's almost a wash because you decided to not do it. The question is if they continue to harass and grow higher, how much more you lose than if they didn't do just 2 oracles. Also, the base selections, I liked red being the aggressor and growing towards their opponent. And I like the blue player trying to be farther away, defending themselves, giving themselves more depth for their opponent to come at them. Like, there was so many really, really, really good decisions. I could probably talk about this game for quite a while with regards to what was going on. Oh, idle workers, that's a big no-no. I'm surprised that they're still sitting here. It's been a long time. Idle workers are terrible. I do like the aggressions. I like the plays. I like this how they were attentive to things. I'm surprised that red didn't grab one of these mineral patches just with that one probe and just like grab it before the scout. That way you could do some really cheeky stuff where you send 3 more versus 4 and you can get inside. But you have to have that as like part of your game plan. You didn't, so there's 0 fault there. It's a cool concept that we've seen where like somebody will put a hatchery here grab the minerals here, or they'll put a hatch here or a gas here, and then they'll go gas, mineral, gas, mineral, gas, mineral, etc. And then they will open up the wall, which is also a really cool concept. I like the adept location. All the scouting was on point. Both players had a really good idea of what their opponent was doing. Both players were very smart about their positioning. I like both of them deciding to pull back often, right? Having the concave to their advantage, saying, oh, I'm in a position where they got a concave, time to pull back. I do like the jump on the higher tech tier units later on. It was just like a lot of really, 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 really good execution. But good games to both of you. I appreciate you deciding to put this out on the internet and share it with everybody out there. And I look forward to other games from you all, and hopefully I'll be able to see some more stuff that I'm not good at, and also hopefully give you some other little minor things that I saw that you could improve upon. Good game, and hope you all have a good rest of the day.